The universe is a terrifying place. Out there, events are in motion that will eventually lead to not only the death of humanity, but the death of the universe itself. Even on our own pale blue dot, we are in constant danger from above and below. Our survival so far is extremely unlikely, and things aren't going to change. Here are 10 upcoming events in the near and distant future that are gonna keep you up at night. Number 10. The Singularity. With artificial intelligence becoming a growing concern in recent years, with the unbound efficiency of neural networks inadvertently becoming wound up in the world of politics and social media, many people have begun to speculate on where AI might be headed. This has led to some terrifying theories that as AI grows more advanced and is able to improve itself automatically, the self-improvement will rapidly escalate to a point of near infinite efficiency. With enough sophistication, an AI could theoretically not only become self-aware, but also reach a level of godlike intelligence, far beyond human comprehension. At this point, referred to as the Singularity by Google's head of engineering Ray Kurzweil, we will have reached a turning point and our fate will no longer be in our own hands. Our survival will be at the discretion of the super intelligent beings we construct. Whether our digital gods choose to keep us around or decide that we're too much of a burden to allow to continue to exist, this could prove either the next stage of our evolution or our extinction. Kurzweil believes this event will occur by 2045, so you'd better start minding your P's and Q's around your laptop. Number 9. Incurable infections. Irresponsible doctors and risky self-treatment have contributed to an issue that is quickly becoming one of the most serious threats to human civilization: antibiotic-resistant bacteria. The unnecessary overprescription of antibiotics has led certain strains of deadly bacteria like E. coli and Mycobacterium tuberculosis to develop genetic properties which make them essentially invincible to antibiotics. Through natural selection, the strains that gain these traits through mutations tend to survive longer and pass their traits on to their offspring, rapidly multiplying and quickly becoming a terrifying threat. What makes this issue so alarming is that these bacteria could turn a routine operation into a medical emergency, with highly increased levels of mortality worldwide. If we don't act quickly, by 2050, antibiotic-resistant superbugs are forecasted to kill more people per year than cancer. To help combat this, you should avoid taking antibiotics unless absolutely necessary, and aim to purchase organic meat, which is less likely to be pumped full of antibiotics. Man-made bioweapons, manufactured to be untreatable and relentlessly lethal, present a similar threat. The accidental release of these could rapidly spread into a worldwide pandemic, possibly even an extinction event. Statistics show that without restricting these experiments, there is a 1 in 4 chance of a breach occurring within the next decade, which could easily wipe out 60% of humanity. Number 8. At war with the universe. Have you ever wondered what causes those huge craters on the moon? The answer is comets, asteroids, and meteors. The reason Earth doesn't suffer quite as badly from cosmic acne is thanks to our atmosphere, which deflects space debris. The stuff that does get through is usually traveling fast enough to ignite the air in front of it, vaporizing rocky invaders before they can do much damage. Only the fastest, largest, and most cohesively structured intruders make it to touchdown, which can be cataclysmic and is thought to have caused the mass extinction of the dinosaurs approximately 65 million years ago. In 1950, astronomer Carl Wertman spotted an asteroid a mile in diameter, traveling at 38,000 miles per hour on a collision course with Earth. While there is a less than 1% chance of a direct collision, the possibility cannot be ruled out and must be taken seriously. The asteroid is expected to reach us on March 16, 2880, which gives us 35 generations worth of thinking to come up with a solution. One solution may be to cover the asteroid in reflective material, which will transfer the sun's light energy into a force known as the Yarkovsky effect, nudging it off course. We need a solution because if the asteroid makes it to Earth, it will hit the ground with the force of 500,000 megatons, 10,000 times more than the most powerful nuclear weapon ever detonated on Earth. Everything within a 100-mile radius would be flattened. The destruction would easily extend hundreds of miles further, and the ensuing atmospheric dust cloud would have worldwide repercussions. If a 40-meter wide asteroid can do this, Imagine what a mile-wide object could do. While some life may survive, Earth certainly wouldn't be a pleasant place to live. Number 7. Doomed by nature. As human beings, our optimism is what has accelerated our species forward at such an incredible rate, particularly within the past 200 years. We often fantasize about a future amongst the stars, exploring the depths of outer space. But what if that doesn't happen? We could very well be held back by a little thing called human nature. These traits are in our DNA. They're leftovers from a time where being cautious of change and suspicious of others was critical to our survival. These characteristics are what will separate us from any artificial intelligence we may create. It makes us who we are. But now, these traits work against us, and unless we force ourselves to change, they could be our downfall. This is the outline of Enrico Fermi's Fermi paradox, which asks the question: if sentient life forms are capable of interstellar travel, and there are billions of Earth-like planets in the universe, why haven't we made contact? One of the most likely answers is that intelligent life tends to destroy itself before it's able to make contact with other life forms. If this wasn't depressing enough, another physicist, Frank Drake, has estimated using data on stars and habitable planets that the upper limit for survival of a technologically advanced civilization is 10,000 years. But this is all theoretical. For all we know, E.T. could be here in a week. The universe is almost infinite after all. I won't be taking down my aliens welcome flag just yet. Number 6. Super eruptions. Some of the biggest threats to our survival actually come from the Earth itself. Volcanic super eruptions are terrifying and have posed serious threats to life in the past. One of the Earth's most powerful supervolcanoes lurks under the cracked surface of Yellowstone National Park in Wyoming, USA, and its underlying heat can be constantly witnessed in the bubbling mud puddles, bursting geysers, and steaming hot springs. The volcano has erupted 3 times in the past: 2.1 million years ago, 1.3 million years ago, and 664,000 years ago. The decreasing gap between each subsequent eruption has led many to believe that we are long overdue for the next one, which is a terrifying thought. If the volcano were to erupt, it could launch up to 240 cubic miles of ash and rock into the surrounding area, burying almost half of North America in harmful volcanic ash and absolutely devastating the closest states, burying the Northern Rockies in 3 feet of ash. This event would send debris barreling into the atmosphere with a persistent ash cloud, which could trigger a 6 to 10 year global winter. Even if Yellowstone doesn't erupt, and some scientists suggest it may have already had its final eruption, there is still a massive risk presented by other volcanoes around the world. A super eruption could happen at any time and is estimated to occur within the next 100,000 years. Number 5. Hellfire from the heavens. At some point in the next 300,000 years, a 3-star system known as WR-104 in the next galactic town over, 7,500 light years away, is expected to destroy itself, exploding in a supernova. When this happens, unfathomable amounts of energy will be released into the surrounding galaxies, which unfortunately includes ours. This energy will take the form of gamma radiation, and if the burst aligns with Earth, it will enter our atmosphere in substantial quantities. Luckily for us, we may be safe at first, as our atmosphere is extremely effective at absorbing high-energy electromagnetic radiation like X-rays and gamma rays. However, gamma rays in these quantities will, over time, trigger chemical reactions in the atmosphere, gradually converting nitrogen and oxygen molecules into nitrogen oxide gas. This may cause a photochemical smog to block out certain wavelengths of sunlight from reaching us, cooling the Earth into a cosmic winter. The Earth's ecosystem will be thrown into disarray, as toxic nitric acid rain would devastate amphibian life, and rising levels of ultraviolet light would drastically increase DNA damage and cancer levels. In spite of its explosive beginnings, the aftermath of the WR-104 supernova would be slow and almost unnoticeable, but would eventually be responsible for the painful deaths of many of Earth's inhabitants. Number 4. Roses are dead, violets are too. In 600 million years, the Earth will look very different indeed. As the Earth's core loses energy over time, it will cool, and eventually, tectonic plates will stop moving. This will mean no more earthquakes, but also no more volcanoes. And that might seem like a good thing, but volcanoes help to regulate carbon dioxide in Earth's atmosphere. Without these, most of Earth's CO2 will become trapped in rocks. As CO2 levels dramatically fall, plants will be unable to photosynthesize, which means they are unable to turn sunlight into food. The plants die out, and not only does Earth's renewable source of oxygen disappear, but also the major foundation of Earth's food chains and ecosystems. Without plants, any living organism that doesn't live off fungi will starve into extinction. And that includes us if we're still around. Without the plants, Earth will quickly transform into a barren desert wasteland. If we hadn't left already, this event would leave us with no choice. So begins the end of life on Earth. But it's okay, I hear they have cookies just a couple galaxies over. Number 3. A life well lived. Let's fast forward. Whatever happens to human beings, assuming we don't blow planet Earth up ourselves, life will most likely continue for a long time. Life, finds a way. Eventually, however, all good things must come to an end, including life on Earth. As the sun expands into a red giant, Earth's surface temperature will increase to an average of 296 Fahrenheit or 147 Celsius, even at the poles. When this happens, 2.8 billion years from now, the last remnants of life, single-celled organisms clinging onto life in the boiling oceans or deep trenches, will die off as the Earth's solidifying core stops offering the nutrients and energy that are critical to life. These single-celled organisms, known as prokaryotes, will likely be similar to the first life forms to emerge on Earth. And so life comes full circle and goes to sleep forever. Probably for the best, considering what comes next. Number 2. Red giants and white dwarfs? No fairy tale. The sun, like most stars, is essentially a giant furnace. Only it burns hot enough for nuclear fusion to occur. This is when elements smash together so hard they form new elements. This is fine with the lighter elements like hydrogen, but eventually stars begin to fuse metals like iron. When this starts to happen, the star becomes inefficient at its job and begins to expand, losing massive amounts of energy in the process. When this happens to our sun, in around 7 billion years, it will consume the Earth, the Moon, and all the other planets in the solar system along the way. Once the sun stops expanding, it will shrink down into a stable state, becoming something known as a white dwarf. The sun will remain this size, very similar in diameter to the Earth, and will sit alone in its once bustling neighborhood, a sparkling Earth-sized beacon, the only reminder of the pale blue dot that once was. I'm not crying. You're crying. Number 1. This is the end. In the finale of all finales, once the Earth has been gone for several quintillion years, yes, that's a real number with 18 zeros, the universe as we know it will die. Physicists have argued fiercely for generations over how this might occur. One theory suggests that eventually the universe will be dominated by all-consuming black holes, sucking up everything in sight, even space itself. Eventually, these black holes will disappear as their energy is released into the universe as Hawking radiation, leaving no solid matter behind. This is known as the Big Freeze theory, and it has an evil twin known as the Big Rip. The Big Rip would involve all forms in the universe being ripped apart into elementary particles and radiation by a mysterious force known as dark energy. Some even theorize that as the universe is brought together into a chaotic soup, quantum randomness may spontaneously cause multiple new Big Bangs. This isn't just science fiction. Quantum randomness can easily be observed in the behavior of electrons, which can undergo a bizarre teleportation process called quantum tunneling. Through these methods, which admittedly sound like something from a 1950s B-movie, the universe may be able to be reborn in the biggest comeback since Jesus. So, there you have it, some really terrifying events predicted for the future. Will these thoughts keep you up at night? Or are you happy leaving these issues to future generations to solve? Or perhaps you think there are other, more frightening events I didn't mention? Tell me in the comments section down below. Thanks for watching.